Very good evening to you from the sports desk. Let's start with local football. Orlando Pirates registered a commanding 3-0 victory over Stade in the Caf Champions League group stage match at Orlando Stadium last night. It took just 22 minutes for Kamogelo Mogale to open the scoring with a calm tap-in, the result of a well-executed passing sequence. Despite creating numerous chances in the first half, players like Tsegofatso Mabasa, Patrick Maswanganyi and Mahaunkota were unable to extend the lead. Pirates did continue to dominate in the second half, and Maswanganyi doubled the score with an excellent turn and finished inside the box. Stade offered little resistance and failed to test Sipho China, who had a quiet game in the Pirates goal. Dion Hotto sealed the win late in the match, using his pace to beat defender and slotting the ball past Tris Bamba. With this second group stage win, Pirates are now placed at the top of Group C standings.
The pace of Hotto! Oh, he deserves one.
Right now, joining us to dissect that game and more is journalist Kamogelo Mogale, who watched the game at close quarters at the Orlando Stadium last night. Kamu, a very good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mogale, for the opportunity.
Let's start with the atmosphere at the game yesterday. We saw fans coming in their numbers to watch Orlando Pirates, a very big game. Did you think that that played a role in how confident Pirates were on the ball?
Well, I think it played a huge role. I mean, you look at a team like Orlando Pirates, they've been yearning for continental football for the longest of time. And now this is an opportunity for them, especially under the mentorship of coach Jose Rivero at this, look at what they have done on the local front. So this is an opportunity for them, to do the most, especially on the continent. So I think with the crowds, coming in their numbers, supporters coming in their numbers at the stadium played a huge role. I mean, it's something that Jose Rivero himself has been, alluding into, saying he wants to see the Buccaneers come flocking the Orlando Stadium and making sure that they're really behind the team. And I do believe that their 12 men, they are coming on board and also playing a role in supporting the team in whichever way that they can.
Looking at the game itself, 3-0 looks like quite a comfortable performance from Orlando Pirates, but they labored a little bit, created a lot of chances that they missed, particularly in the first half. What did you make of the performance overall of the team?
When you look at the performance of Orlando Pirates overall, it was a great performance. Of course, Jose Rivero did say, when we spoke to him post-match, he did say that going into the match, they also needed to be focused and not to be too complacent with the results that, before that Al-Ali and the CRP lose, that they needed to focus on what they can do, what they can handle at that point in time. So I think overall the performance, it was a very impressive performance by the team. Of course, there has been individual brilliance here and there, but I do believe that individual brilliance by certain players, they did come in the form of the team in making sure that they get that much important results, the 3 points, which then sealed the deal that they will go at the summit of Group C, in making sure that, going into the last two games, they sort of like have one foot of some sort into the quarterfinals, but they still need to do the groundwork with the last two games in Group C.
Well, I mean, watching the game, as you say, individual brilliance does come into play. Kamogelo Mogale was on goal. We saw the likes of Nkota, Maswanganyi also, and Hotto on the goal. But I think if you look at a player like Makaula, for me, he was quite solid and sort of made the Orlando Pirates midfield tick. I mean, what did you make of his performance, and which other player, despite the goal scorer, stood out for you?
Definitely, I was going to say cash no deposit in Makashini Makaula into your fully fridging savings. He does do the work for Orlando Pirates, especially in making sure that he anchors that midfield. He ushers that midfield and making sure that he cleans the job for them. He does the dirty work for them in making sure that other players are able to shine. So for me, Makashini Makaula played a huge important role for Orlando Pirates. And I also feel that another player, that is underrated, but when he comes on the field of play, he does the work for Orlando Pirates. I do believe that Kamogelo Mogale as well plays a huge role in that midfield. I mean, when Kamogelo Mogale sits back, Kamogelo Mogale is able to go forward, to help with the attack in making sure that, they put some of those creating goals so that they can, slaughter those goals into the back of the net. So when you look at Makaula, he played a huge role. You look at Kabelo Dlamini, and another player, Dino van Rooyen as well, in that right back. He's doing something there in that right back. I mean, he kept saying Jean Corre, the number 10 of Abidjan, very quiet, because I did see in the early stages of the game that had he let him go, he probably could have caused a problem for that defense of Orlando Pirates. But Dion van Rooyen also played a huge role in making sure that he keeps him quiet, so that they have a solid defense in the entire game.
So Orlando Pirates now lead Al Ahly by 1 point on top of the group. You did mention that 1 foot in the knockout stages, 2 games to go. Does this sit comfortable for them? I mean, they need just 1 point, but obviously so far it looks like they are taking this Champions League a little bit more serious than we've seen in the previous years.
Well, Coach Jose Rivero, when we spoke to him after the game, he did say that, yes, they are top of the league, but that does not, they are top of the group rather, but that does not say anything. They still need to, do the groundwork. I mean, they still need to play Belouizdad next week Sunday, before they make the trip to Cairo to face Al Ahly. But I do believe that, they need to do the work. And when you look at that game against CR Belouizdad, I think that's the game that will actually seal the deal for them. Because when you look at the 3 teams, it's Al Ahly, it's Orlando Pirates, as well as CR Belouizdad. It's just a point separating the 3. It's a 3-horse race. So at this point in time, every man for himself. So I do believe that Orlando Pirates, they might be first, but they still want to be solid, continue with the consistency that they've been, displaying in their performance, in making sure that probably come the end of the group stages, they'll finish top of the group.
Let's quickly end with Mamelodi Sundowns. Lost their first match in the Champions League. They are in second spot. 2 red cards that they've suffered. It was quite a very interesting game that had too many falls. But what does this mean in the bigger scheme of things? Should the Sundowns fans be worried about this loss?
I know that Sundowns supporters will be worried at this point in time, but when you look at a team like Mamelodi Sundowns, I mean, 10 seasons in the Caf Champions League, they know how to play this competition. I mean, they've been getting knocked out at the semi-final stages. So I do believe that the experience that they've gained in this 10 seasons in the Caf Champions League will play a huge role for them. As much as they are second on 5 points, 3 points behind ASFA, I do know that, the experience, especially Sundowns, especially when it comes to getting out of the group, they know how to get out of the group. So I think that experience will play a role, though they are worried. But I do believe that they themselves, especially Coach Miguel, he needs to be a bit consistent with his lineup, because I do believe that, he's been changing players here and there, just to sort of like usher in his own philosophy, his own system. But I do believe that with the experience that they've gained in the competition, they will make it a point that they get out of the group.
Kamo, we're going to have to leave it there, but as always, thank you so much for making time to speak to us. Kamogelo Mogale, sports journalist, reflecting on the 2 matches, the Caf Champions League matches that we've seen yesterday, with Orlando Pirates winning their game by 3-0 and Mamelodi Sundowns suffering their first loss by 1-0.